big show on the way.
Need a little help getting started in the morning?
It's very dangerous.
They've got the experts.
So, no.
Toucher and Hardy.
No.
On the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 985 The Sports Hub on YouTube. That's Pastrnak. Obviously, they felt it. You lose a game 6-0 at home when you're down 2-1 in a series.
6-1, Fred. Very important you include that goal with 50 seconds left.
I think I said when you're down in a game 6-0.
Okay.
But I might have made that mistake. But the first period that they played was the first worst period, and it was backed up by Fluto, who's seen every game. I have not seen every period of every game, but that seemed like the worst period. Safe to say, Ryan, before we get to the good news, Ryan, who is the excellent voice, we were celebrating you earlier. Great to call on the Pastrnak winner, and good on Bob for letting you have the breath. Good team right there. Ryan, we were talking about this. Ryan is the play-by-play voice of the Bruins on 98.5 The Sports Hub and a good friend of the show, someone who's sat in here thousands of times as various people were no longer working here or doing Celtics games or in rehab. Now, Ryan, was the first period of Game 4 the worst period of hockey the Bruins have played this season, in your opinion?
Yeah, I'd say it probably was. I mean, there might have been a couple that sniffed that area, but it was really bad, especially just given the circumstances of being down 2-1 in the series and you're playing on home ice. And, we typically, if we've seen periods like that, it's usually been on the road. Think back to like Dallas in in January, they played a really bad game there and had a bad game up in Ottawa early in the season, things like that. But given the circumstances, there's no question. It was really terrible. And I don't blame anyone if you missed out on the one Bruins goal in that game, because if I were watching at home, I'm sure I would have turned it off by then.
No, it was a Sunday afternoon. And I don't know if you're going to sit there watching that. But last night, did you think Pastrnak was offsides on the game winner?
It was really close.
Yeah, it was really close. And I think, and listen, I love the fact that, as you said, Beersy laid out and kind of let me call it. But I think he was worried it was offside, too. That's why I kind of took a breath to see. And Buffalo hung around for a little while to make sure. It's not a challengeable situation. The league automatically looks at that, and so they would have had the best view of it. They've got cameras right on the goal, right on the blue line. So he dragged that back skate just enough, or had it in the air just enough over the blue line to stay onside, and managed to keep up his speed, which was important because Samuelsson was kind of right in his back pocket there.
Yeah, and I didn't get the replay of it, the feed I was watching. So, like you said, the league looks at it. So, all right, all's well that ends well. But he gets a fair amount of criticism. So he probably deserves the credit. Hampus Lindholm fed the pass to Pastrnak on that play, correct?
He did. It was good vision because Pasta had literally just come on from the bench. It wasn't like he was part of the play and read that there was going to be a turnover and took off up the ice. He had just jumped over the boards on the bench, didn't even make it back beyond the red line before he then wheeled back up ice, and Hampus timed that pass about as perfectly as you could. So, great vision by him to know where Pastrnak was at that point and be able to get him the puck.
The one thing that Marco Sturm's team has had all year was resiliency. We've seen it time and time again, and they get blown out at home, they get embarrassed at home, and then Buffalo kind of gets a gift power play goal. Peak makes a good stop of a pass, but it still winds up in Dahlin's area, and he's got an entire net to shoot out. It's a fluke goal, but you're down in an elimination game. But give the Bruins credit again. They were able to kind of tamper things down and go ahead and win this thing.
Yeah, he kind of worried, right? You take that early penalty, and I thought it was, wasn't that much. I mean, Kastelik goes after a guy who's in his goaltender's kitchen. The officials clearly decided that they weren't going to allow any of that last night, and so you learn that lesson early. But you give up the power play goal, first one you had allowed all series, and I was kind of at that point wondering, like, does this thing go south? But yeah, I mean, the guys kept their head up and it really didn't let it bother them. They got to their game very quickly after that. And, in talking with Marco Sturm before the game, doing our pregame interview, The last question I asked him was, knowing your team as you do, what do you expect this to look like tonight? And he said, you know what? I don't know if we're going to win or lose, but he said, I would be really surprised if we don't go out and play our game tonight. He said the guys were just in that frame of mind. You know, they had all talked about how embarrassing it was on Sunday. They weren't going to let their season end in a similar fashion, and they did. I mean, they went out and played for close to 70 minutes last night. They played about as well as this team can play, especially in their defensive zone. They didn't give Buffalo anything 5-on-5, and Jeremy Swayman came up huge when he needed to. They took care of the puck for the most part in the defensive zone, which is what all the problems were about on Sunday. They cleaned all that up and showed what happens when they can play their game.
Yeah, in my mind, Swayman was otherworldly. Third period last night. I don't know how you and Bob saw it, but to me, it looked like he was playing out of his mind. Were the saves as good as I thought they were, Ryan?
Yeah, there were some really good ones in there. He's just been so solid in this series, and I know some people get into it a little bit about his behavior after Game 4 when he left that game and let the bench have it. I think he's a fiery guy. We said it on the broadcast. He gave up 6 goals in that game. It could have been way worse than that, and not only that, but his confidence doesn't get shaken by a game like that, because he's still there every single night. And so, he's just been a rock for them pretty much all season long, and certainly in this postseason, he continues to be their best player night in and night out. He's given you a chance to win every time he takes the ice, and the guys are confident in front of him. And so, if they don't, essentially light themselves on fire in the defensive zone, he's he's there to clean it up.
Yeah, I mean, in Game 4, that was,
unfair.
It was just. I think you could have never seen hockey before and realized that there was some very troubling things going on. It seemed amateurish. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how bad it was. I mean, when you're turning the puck over in your own end, when you have 2 skaters and they have 1. And you're making a cross-ice pass that gets intercepted. Like, these are things that I might be recalling wrong, but they seem real enough to me. All right, so here we go. This is not unprecedented. Teams have come. We've seen Philadelphia come back from 3-0 in a series, down 3-0 in a Game 7.
Saw Carolina come back from down 3-1.
That's the one that hurt the most.
Yeah,
whatever reason,
put them away.
For whatever reason, I remember that one being a lot more painful than the Philadelphia one. But that's just me. Buffalo's a better team. There's no question about it. If the Bruins, though, play games this tight, do you think that they can win 3 games in a row? They've already got the 1. Do you think that they can win 3 games in a row? Very difficult task.
I do. You've got now the Sabres in a position where you've taken 2 out of 3 and probably should have taken 3 out of 3 here in Buffalo, right? You're a better team generally as the season played out. You were a way better team on home ice than you were on the road, and yet the Bruins have played their best hockey in the 3 games here in Buffalo. Now, you get home now for Game 6, the pressure gets onto Buffalo's shoulders, right? They had a 3-1 lead in the series. Now it's 3-2. Now they're on the road. If the Bruins can come out with a strong start, manage to win that game, now Buffalo's lost 2 in a row. They're coming home where they haven't played well, or they haven't played their best hockey in the series. The crowd, you can feel it. The crowd gets tense. People talk about that at TD Garden, where the impact that it can have on the Bruins when things start to go south and the crowd tenses up and things start to snowball. I think Buffalo's kind of in that same boat. If you get it back here to Game 7, it's been 19 years since this town's seen a playoff series win. 15 years, obviously, since they had even been to the playoffs. But being here for the 3 games when the Bruins are playing well and the Sabres aren't getting scoring chances, aren't able to run and gun and get odd man rushes, which is the way they score a lot of goals during the season, the crowd gets a little tense. They get a little anxious. It gets quiet. In some cases, they even start to boo and kind of let their frustration out. So, I think you've gotten yourselves now back into a position, if you're the Bruins, where you've shifted some of the pressure onto Buffalo. Go back home and have a good game and try and get it back here for Game 7, and who knows? I mean, you'll have all the momentum at that point.
Ryan, a couple of lineup things I'm curious about. Are we going to see Victor Arvidsson, or for a very different reason, James Higgins in this series?
Yeah, I don't know what the status is on Arvidsson. We were told yesterday by Marco Stern that Arvidsson did not make the trip. So there wasn't even a chance that he was going to play, obviously, yesterday. So that doesn't sound particularly promising, but they haven't given us any sort of further outlook than that. I think a lot of us were surprised, and Beersley and I talked about it on the air last night. We were both surprised that Higgins didn't get in the lineup last night. But I think it basically came down to Marco Sturm deciding that, it's an elimination game. We're going to go with the guys who have been here all year, and Asamon and Steves get in the lineup in place of, one of them in place of Reichel, one of them in place of Arvidsson. And I thought both of them brought something to the game last night. As far as some energy, some forechecking, which is exactly what the Bruins need. If they're going to play their game against Buffalo, and that's not taking anything away from Higgins, but he's new to this, and we don't really know what you're going to get from him yet from game to game. So I think that's probably what the mindset was there from Sturm. I would imagine he probably goes with the same lineup unless Arvidsson is healthy. He probably goes with the same lineup in Game 6 at home because it worked last night. So typically he won't make a lot of changes, but we'll see. He's actually going to we're waiting for a media availability here this morning before everybody flies back home, and we'll see if we get any clarification on that. But he's got a couple of days to decide.
Yeah, the way they were talking about Arvidsson, it doesn't sound like it. I mean, what do I know? But
we talked to Fluto. Fluto was pretty convinced we weren't going to see him last night. So, yeah.
And I don't remember what player he said he spoke about it, but it might have been Zaka. But someone was speaking about it, and it sounded bad. Like it didn't sound.
I think you're right. I think it was when he talked to Zaka. That's how he kind of got the info.
Yeah, Zaka was Fluto was not in the impression he was playing last night at any point, and it sounds like it's not great. So,
well, this time of year, when you see a guy leave a game and not return, it's usually pretty serious.
Right.
So Arvidsson missed a big chunk of Game 4. So, for him to come back in Game 5 that quickly would have been surprising. But again, we don't know exactly what it is. They're playing that very close to the vest. But it would not shock me if we don't see him again in the series.
All right. Well, Ryan Johnston, great job again last night. I'm glad you get to call some more games, or at least one more, as the Bruins come home. And if they don't want the crowd to boo, don't give up 4 first-period goals on 17 turnovers.
Yeah.
Good rule to live by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty simple formula.
I saw Pasta's interview on TV last night after the game, and he told the fans, be patient. We will shoot. It's like just be loud, but be patient. We're going to shoot. So
yeah, Pasternak's been here long enough. He gets it. He's like, all right, guys, sorry. Sorry about that. We'll get to it. Don't worry.
Well, you know what? And listen, the guys were serious about that. They were really disappointed in themselves, and they take a lot of pride in playing hard at home and being a team that they won. They tied Carolina for the most home wins this year in the league, and they take that very seriously. And they were disappointed, and they were talking about it again after the game last night. That they made the determination that couldn't be their last home game of the season. They couldn't go out that way. They wanted to get it back to Boston and show the fans a better product than they got to see on Sunday.
Well, I guess Corrali and Peak went at it at practice a couple days ago. So yeah, they seem to be pretty pissed off. Pissed off.
Yeah, it was one of the more intense practices you'll see, especially during a playoff run. Usually those practices are pretty short and to the point. Guys were. As Marco said, they were pretty pissed off when they showed up for practice on Monday. So, that carried over into the game a little bit last night.
Yeah, and that's just what you got to ask for, You can't ask for more than that. You just ask that they care.
Yeah.
I find it very hard to imagine that it was very fun to be on the ice in that first period of Game 4. You can't expect that kind of outcome again. That would be very odd if that happened twice. All right, Ryan Johnston, have a good time. You flown back yet, or are you getting on the plane now? I hear police sirens. You're obviously up to something. What is your schedule like right now?
We're still in Buffalo this morning. As said, Bruins are going to do a media availability at the team hotel here in a few minutes, and then we're all getting on the plane to head home. We'll be home probably about 12:30, 1 o'clock today.
Yeah, a lot of people just drive that, but you got to get private, flying private. I mean, that's the way it goes. All right, Ryan.
Those nickel and dimers. They can spend their gas money, but we'll be kicking back in the first class seats today.
Come on, Ryan. Wallach is sitting right here. You don't have to.
I'm so jealous.
How was your trip to Philly, Wallach? Everything good?
Shut up. God damn
No,
you.
strangely, it wasn't fun. It was amazing.
You all suck.
He treated those kids to a nice spring break at their in-laws house in suburban Philadelphia.
God.
Have fun, kids.
I mean, it's
like the Disney
hard. April vacation in Philadelphia is such a huge hotspot.
Collegeville, damn it, not Philadelphia.
20 miles
Collegeville.
outside of Philadelphia. If it's in Philadelphia,
Get it right.
You could cobble together a couple days in Philadelphia.
You've been working
Go
hard.
to Amish country for a day or two.
It was better than going to an empty ballpark. Phillies happened to be out of town that week. Jesus.
Yeah, that's rough when you look to see if anyone's in town. And
Seriously, everybody's gone. Fantastic.
Working hard in school all year. Here's what you get, kids, and then they get to listen to what their friends did during their spring break when they come back.
Where'd you go? The Bahamas, Aruba. Yeah.
When your kids have their own kids in its spring break, I guarantee they tell you one time, you're like, what are they doing? And they're like, we're going to Florida. Like, remember when you made us go to mom's parents' house?
This hasn't scarred them at all.
No, no. What you've done is made better children.
Yeah.
They're going to treat their kids better.
Yeah, there'll be the generation
Well,
that
at least
takes.
there's something good that can come from
Listen,
this.
my mom made me sit in BFF Long Island, like middle of Long Island. Made me sit there with basic TV and no cable and just nothing.
So enjoy your trip back from Buffalo, Ryan.
No other kids,
Hey.
nothing.
I'm going to say something I never thought I'd say. I hope I'm back in Buffalo in a few days.
Buffalo's not so bad. All right, Ryan, thank you. We appreciate it.
Good to talk to you guys.
See ya.
All right, thank you so much for that, Ryan Johnston.
Good for Ryan Johnson being a P1 and listening to the show. I like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, he was on it.
I know,
basically.
but sometimes
He was on it for a year.
Sometimes a season gets away from you. You're doing other things. He always takes time to listen. That's good.
If you went and did the ratings based on people that call games, we'd have like 1 million share. Like, I mean, except for Grandy.
Sosi listens.
Oh, Jesus.
Sosi
Sosi,
listens all the time.
Zolak, Ryan, Drew Carter, Cedric.
Sean Grande.
No, he doesn't listen. I would unless he hate listens.
I think he
because
listens
if I'm him, I'd
sometimes.
hate me.
I don't
too.
think Cedric listens, but he listens to the people who listen.
No, Cedric pays attention. I don't think he listens, but I think that like if it occurs to him, he'll. Let's put it this way: if Cedric turns on the radio in the morning, it would occur to him to listen to us. Now, do I think Cedric wakes up in the morning and puts us on? No, but I do believe if Cedric was in like an Uber or something, and the guy's like, "Is there anything you want to listen to?" and it was 8:00 in the morning, Cedric would be like, "Can you put on 98.5?" Mm-hmm. No, I'm not being boastful here. I'm just saying. No, but I mean, I know for a fact, like if you go through the local announcers outside of Grande,
Brad Feldman, Charlie Davies.
Sure.
Who are they, Fred?
Megadeth's first guitar player and drummer. I take it they're a revolution.
Yeah, that's
situation.
correct. That's correct. We've had Charlie in studio.
That broadcast world class.
I think Charlie does listen. He's a good guy.
Well, listen, it's not his fault he calls that stuff. All right, very
It's
good.
nobody's fault. It's an honor.
No, I know. If you're calling soccer on the radio, I mean, there's only
Played
so
to
many
a
games.
1-1 draw with Inter Miami last weekend. Come on.
Stop that. Stop knowing these things. Stop that.
I apologize. I'll take it down a couple of notches.
Yeah, please do. I mean, you're bragging that you know what they did.
Damn
There's
right.
some things with a ball that you don't have to look at.
Excuse me?
There are some things with a ball.
Huh?
What are you missing one for? All right, very good. We'll be right back. Way to get it into the gut.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
All right, I have to read Adam, but before we get to the emails, let's take a couple calls. And one just left. So we'll go to Stefan.
Hey, what's going on? I just wanted to make a quick point that, what a game last night. I love what Strom did with the lines. I believe Catholic looked great. Kind of hated that, they're not letting the boys play anymore. But I guess what I'm trying to ask is, Swayman's got that power. Swayman looks like a captain out there. If we go 6 and 7, you think with the same intensity we could get it done? At the end of the day, Strom mixing up the lines is everything. Swayman looks like he's standing on his head out there. Game 6 is in Boston. Game 7's anyone's game. You guys think we can get it done? Thanks, boys.
All right. Well, Ryan just said he believed it, and I will go with him. He's been there for every single game. The Toucher and Hardy email bit is powered by Jeffrey Glassman Injury Lawyers, our guys. If you've been hurt in a car or work accident, you got to get Glassman. Don't just send an email. Call all sevens at 617-777-7777 or visit gottagetglassman.com. I don't know what this is all about, but maybe it's someone from out of town. Zach says, hey, boys.
Zach is a frequent contributor to the show. This is the one I was going to read first, too.
All right, go ahead.
All right, okay, so he said, JJ and I are going to be in Cambridge.
Who are these people?
Zach.
Yeah, right?
No. I'm trying to remember the name of the bit where we were trying to we did a game where, different names like Dolphins, Rugged Double Bears.
He's the gay guy that helped us with that? Okay.
Yeah. But he said they're going to Cambridge to see Jelly Ha Ha tonight. Do you know this band?
I didn't, and then he said, this is what it sounds like, and you got a little Jelly Ha Ha. Planet Sonia tonight, it looks like, which is what TT the Bears was.
Think synth pop with a Pee Wee Herman stage show. Ugh. All right, but he wants a bar or restaurant recommendation post show.
I just would go around the corner and drink at the Middle East.
Yeah. So I can't tell you the last time I was in Cambridge.
Yeah, if you want a pub, go one way down Mass Ave to the Plow and Stars, the other way take you to
all right, they're local yokel. All right, we understand. You've covered this territory. By the way, I got something, Adam, that this is going to put some lead in your pencil.
Okay, I know.
So my parents are coming in on Friday. And,
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
nice.
if you would like to say hello, please.
Yes, perhaps.
Why don't they come by the station?
So my dad can tell me to shut up during breaks because the mics are on. But I do believe I'm going to be taking them to the Bridge Gallery in Cambridge.
Nice.
Do you know what that is?
It's is that at Harvard?
No.
Okay. Oh, then I don't know what it is. Tell me what the Bridge Gallery is.
It's a gallery of photography, but they have the original
Maplethorpe's?
There is a Maplethorpe in this. But it is, and that's why I'm taking my dad. He loves it. Water sports and everything. So it's the original shots of the covers of iconic albums. So it's the original photographs. So it's like the non-cropped, like fiddled about photograph. And when your parents are in town, you don't need them sitting on your couch staring at you for hours upon end. So it's like, do I go to and at some point, we're all day Saturday with my ex-wife and children. And I'm not going to make my parents are listening, but they understand. Like, I'm not going to go like, hey, guys, you got to spend the entire weekend with grandma and grandpa. I'm not doing that. So it's either take them to the Red Sox game, which I'm not positive. I know Zoe's not going to want to do it, and I'm not positive Malu's going to want to do it because he has a game on Saturday, and then we're going out to dinner. Or do I take my parents to this Bridge Gallery, which there was something in the Globe about?
Yeah.
And I figure that I can do that, but then I fear that we get to Cambridge and we get through that gallery in about 10 seconds, and then
looks kind of small.
Yeah.
You might have lunch while you're
you could do that, or would you take them to the MFA? That would eat up a lot more time.
I've taken my mom to the MFA, and it was not a good experience.
Oh, okay.
Why?
What about the ICA?
No, hold on a second. What's wrong with going to the MFA? What could go wrong?
I don't know. There was a whole thing going on at that point. I didn't deal with it.
Now I'm curious. A whole thing? What is that?
Nah, it was just a bad day. fighting and arguing and things of that nature.
Oh, so you're afraid that just the geography of being back there will stir up some bad
I mean,
memories?
it's the only thing that I can remember like a serious argument. I maybe not to return there.
Yeah.
This was years ago, but maybe it's better not to return there.
It's like when you get food poisoning and then you don't want to eat that food anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
No, she loves that old lady's house.
Oh, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum.
Yeah, she loves that.
The old lady's house.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what it is.
I speak French.
I know, but it just the way
Exactly
you
what he was
described
talking
it,
about, yeah.
nobody else.
Yeah.
Well, I went to
It's
it.
very Steve Brule. Hey, we're going to go check out old lady's house.
It was kind
But at
of
least I knew what it was.
No, it's just nothing. It's just the way you described it.
No, I
That's
know.
all.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Anything that gets a laugh.
it was very Bill Burr like. You know that smart guy who's always sitting down, Stephen Hawking.
Yeah. So,
I like that.
but because I went there recently for the first time, and and it's very much an old lady's house.
Yes.
Like the idea that
course it
someone
is.
lived there.
Yeah.
It seems like the worst way to live if you had that much money. It's just terrible. Yeah. It's a mishmash of stuff all over the place. Now, it's interesting to visit, but to live there for more than a day would be very uncomfortable, especially with that. I don't know if that atrium was originally there, but it's a whole wet situation. It's gross.
But Marcy will take like my mom to the MFA or her and like Calvin and Katie. They've been there. The last time I was there with them, I think this is why I haven't been invited back, is because I just can't turn it off sometimes. And we're going through and we're looking at the huge the John Singer's Sergeant thing and the Watson and the Shark, the famous thing. And I'm probably a little too loud, but I'm just like, that's the worst frickin' painting I've ever seen. This guy, how about you paint a picture of a shark and you've never seen a shark before, you idiot? I don't care how old this is or how awesome it is. That's the worst looking shark. Calvin, you could draw a better shark than that, and you suck. And I'm just going on, and I haven't been invited back since.
He slowly walks away from you while you're.
You know,
Yeah.
part of the reason I want to go to this cover stories thing is one of them is the original copy of picture of the Ramones iconic first cover, and I can then explore the Dee Dee Ramone 53rd and 3rd with my father.
Yes. Could you record that? We could turn that into a segment next week.
You know, my parents lived in Manhattan in the 60s, which explains my dad's revulsion to the show Mad Men. He just dismisses it and hates it. I don't know if he's ever seen it, but he's like, "No, it wasn't like that." And then he tells a million stories about drunks
That were just like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so I've told this story before, but whatever. We're on the air a lot. So there's a song by the Ramones called 53rd and 3rd, and Dee Dee Ramone was a drug addict and would hustle. He would sell himself for sex to men on the corner of 53rd and 3rd. This is when my parents lived in Manhattan. And I said to him one time, you know, first of all, I brought up music, which is a contentious point for him. He doesn't like that.
Like music in general.
Yes, anything that people derive pleasure from that's not advertised on Fox News. So he
does he have one of those 72-hour survival kits?
No, he's not a maniac. He's just old. Like he's an old white guy. He's not a maniac.
They've gone from the year-long MREs to now 72-hour survival kits. You hear the ads on the
I know.
Driving in here, whatever's on before us. They run them.
Right. Yeah, no, they used to run that like on ESPN radio, and I just feared for ESPN so much. Like, yeah, no, he's not like insane. He's just, I told you, as a 20-something-year-old, and he voted for Nixon.
He was a young Republican in the late 60s, early 70s.
He was 18, and I believe he voted for Nixon over Kennedy. And he wasn't some rube, like he's from upstate New York, but he was living in Manhattan and went to Dartmouth. I mean, he's a bright guy. Now, he's not like nuts. He's not like a hateful guy. He's I don't know.
He didn't like you.
Maybe not like. I think
he loves you. Legally, he has to.
Right. I think it's more like that.
Yeah.
I think it's probably about the same amount of affection your father expressed to you, or John's father expressed to him. I don't know if not all of us have Adam's dad who's piling all over.
They're
him.
still listening right now.
They're having a catch on the weekends still to this day.
Yeah, it's. I don't. I don't know how much you two grew up in a house where your father was present and loving all the time. I don't know if that happened.
Wasn't around a lot.
No, it was a generational. My father was always flying off to Dayton or Chattanooga, some other exotic locale to sell advertising. Kind of like your dad.
No,
much higher level.
He wasn't flying anywhere. He was at Bedell's.
Same thing. but
Getting in fight.
But in its essence, it was the same thing. He was trying to convince.
Getting in fights with Bill Bonds.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's got a Bill Bonds story. Bill Bonds was our big anchor.
He was our Ron Burgundy.
He was our $1 million
okay.
guy. He was the first $1 million guy. And
that's our Jack Williams here.
Yeah, he was Jack Williams.
He was Jack Williams.
But he was a big alcoholic. He quit drinking before he died.
That's probably what he and my dad were arguing about. Who was the bigger alcoholic?
Well, I mean, I know guys. I know a guy my age that drove him home from a bar because he was so out of it.
Yeah.
And like it's Bill Bonds, and so he drove him home from a bar. Like, yeah, everyone's. I mean, you saw him. He used to be at the Silverdome at Piston games, like on the floor, like out of his mind, drunk, like falling around and stuff. It's crazy.
He went on the air drunk one night and challenged the mayor of Detroit to a boxing match.
But the thing is that if you watch it, it doesn't seem like he's drunk. Like, that's the big story, but it's on YouTube, and I've watched it, and it seems like it would be great. And you see these things. They're really uncomfortable usually when the people are drunk, quite frankly. Maybe because it's like, I'm like, ugh. But like, it's too close to home. But like, he doesn't seem messed up in that. Like, and he doesn't even, because Coleman Young was so out of his mind. Like, I mean, Coleman Young he had drug dealers' parents, the head of the police department that were organizing international drug deals.
Yeah.
While they were the chief of police.
All was undercover.
Bit of a circus in Detroit at that time. The molester catcher guy, Scott Hansen, his whole thing in Detroit, he was an investigative reporter, and all he did was go around with the police while they knocked in drug doors. That was all that was on the news. They were like, hey, guess what, gang? We're going to East Detroit to knock down a door. And Scott Hansen would be there, and they would go in and arrest, and then it cleaned up everything. That was how you did it. It cleaned up everything. The police breaking into these crack dens got rid of the problem immediately.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing that seemed to solve it was when billionaires went, oh, I can get this all for free, and then they bought it, and now you can't afford to live there anymore. Right. They've priced out my friends. My friends can't afford to live in downtown Detroit anymore. That's how much things have changed.
Well, isn't the Cavaliers owner the one?
Gilbert.
Yeah,
Gilbert and Illich own everything in down. No one cares, but anyway, they had these two guys. Billionaires bought everything. All right, which is good in my opinion, but some people don't like it.
Quickly, Sarah from Everett wants you to know that Power Man 5000 was on the Peach Pit After Dark. Played the Peach Pit.
I don't remember that. And
people are adamant that Kara's Flowers, a young Maroon 5, was there too.
I don't doubt that, but were they like
John doubted it, and John claims to know everything.
No, but were they like, was that part of the of the thing, like part of the plot?
Like, now let's introduce Luther Vandross, and it was part of it because he had
Luther Vandross, right,
yeah.
And then like even the Flaming Lips, like it was like kind of a thing that they were on.
They incorporate. It was like Doobie Brothers on What's Happening.
Yeah, where they gave the Doobie Brothers a half an hour of 44 minutes of television, 2 episodes, and they just let the Doobie Brothers play.
Yeah. What's
Happening set in Watts in the 70s.
Exactly.
Strange that they were Doobie Brothers fans. All right, very good. All right, well, enough that they risked life and limb to tape the show on a reel-to-reel. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? Ready? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
All right, we are Toucher and Hardy. What's going on, Hardy?
What do you think of the, we've discussed this before, how much people are making on OnlyFans, Fred?
Yeah.
And how it can't be as much as some people say they're making?
Well, it's one of these things where you'll hear a person, like a girl, made, some extraordinarily large amount of money, and then you assume that this is like a great money-making source, and then people degrade themselves on it, and the vast majority, I mean, into the well over 98% of these people will never make enough money for it to matter, nor to justify the degradation of being on it. And that's the kind of the point.
All right. Well, Maitland Ward was on the show Boy Meets World.
Yeah, but she used to listen to the show to communicate with us.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. All right. Then she turned to porn. Not so great. A lot of acting in it. You can tell she made him let her act. And then you're like, okay, this is too much plot and dialogue.
She says that she made $20,000 or $25,000 per episode playing Rachel McGuire on the Disney Channel show Boy Meets World.
Yeah, she was the love interest of Joey Lawrence's brother.
At 49 years old, she says her OnlyFans career is bringing her 6 figures a month. I'm creating this brand. I can make it go for as long as I want to go. Easy. Easy.
Yeah, like when the people that grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s grow up, then, I mean, get out of their system. That's going to stop. And by the way, there's no way she's making that much money.
See, that's what I say, too. Like, who is spending the money every month, even if it's $3, to see stuff that you can easily access for nothing?
Well, say it is $3, and a lot of people do it. She's not making that much money. Like, there's no way. I don't believe it. And she can show me infographics or anything that she's doing it, and she seems like a lovely person. And I don't care that she did porn. That's her. Believe me, I got no problem with that. I just don't. I think that a lot of this stuff with social media and OnlyFans stuff is like fool's gold and a con. And I think that people are helping these corporations by like acting like they're making way more money than they are. But, you know, I just have heard and read too much about no one making money doing this stuff. There are examples of random women or random people making a ton of money. There's no question. And she has a leg up because she was on Boy Meets World. And she was on for like a year or two. It's not like she was on it forever. I mean, she wasn't on, the Cosby Show.
You get what?
How'd she have her leg up?
Hello.
How about,
hey.
Were you doing some welding before you came in this morning, Scott? Those are some large sunglasses you're wearing.
Are those the Deion Sanders blinders ones? No. They're just
These
big.
are called sunglasses for guys with large heads.
Are they too big for my face?
Oh my God, you're the Fly.
Blue blockers.
Look at that thing.
That is pretty funny. You look like an old lady and.
Should be
Rob Ninkovich made so much
shuffleboard with those.
So much fun of me because I bought these very expensive Ray-Bans. He goes, "Would you get those from a baby?" Of course, when I went on TikTok, I said sunglasses for large heads, and I bought these.
When you went on
How
TikTok,
much?
$60
Okay.
for 3 pair.
really?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to worry about like the quality of them lenses.
Well,
You can make you go blind.
it's not like I'm out in the sun for a week.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, look, everyone have a great day. Enjoy Zolak and Bertrand. That'll do it for us. Bye.